I think one of the core aspects that we really have to grasp is what it is we have to commit to, driven by the evidence, not driven by politics or culture, but looking at what the evidence demands of the rate of decarbonisation. We've signed up to the Paris Agreement along with 195 countries. That means the world has to get to zero emissions by about mid-century to avoid really dangerous climate change. Now within that there's a fantastic role for universities to drive that transition. And rather than business as usual and keep trying to tweak it up, let's look at where we need to be by 2050 and aim for that, so that we can, when you're designing energy infrastructure, you can't keep shifting the energy infrastructure and shifting the plan. You have to know the end goal and put in the infrastructure with a long-term vision. So that's why we're so keen to get net zero established in the UK Climate Act and in the vision for all the universities, because their own campuses can be a fabulous learning lab for not just technical change of how you retrofit buildings, but psychology of how you change behaviour, or economics, how you include external costs. Yes, I think campus operations are a fabulous live lab for applying what is the end goal that we need to do to fulfill our obligations to the Paris Agreement. It isn't just a matter of coming up with an academic paper saying it's possible. It really has to happen on the ground. And if we can't make it happen in our own campuses, how can we make it happen out there in the rest of society? So those who are doing the research and doing the learning have to set a good example in real life by making it happen on their own campuses. And there's an enormous amount to learn there, and we've got to accept there will be projects that don't work with any live lab. It's not a showroom for all these fabulous green techs that all work 100%. It's real life projects where some fail, some succeed. You do the analysis, you look at what does succeed, and then scale that up and replicate it. Well, we've spent 10 years modelling in more and more detail how we get to zero emissions in terms of powering down demand, powering up supply of energy, land use, food and diets. But doing more and more modelling won't in of itself bring about change. We have to then spend time looking at what are the barriers and how we overcome them. What are the barriers psychologically, sociologically, looking at economics, looking at law. And there's fabulous amounts of research. We were a bit worried at the beginning that we would find lots of barriers but not enough solutions. But there's lots of really good work that's gone on that shows how we can overcome the barriers and get to zero. We've just simply ushered it all into one free-to-download PDF toolkit that allows people to delve into the PDF and find real-life examples, but not just from academic study, but from real-life projects on the ground, like Energiesprong that have retrofitted lots of buildings, or food and diets, or land use, or energy generation, community scale, so the benefits are shared more locally. We've put all of those into a toolkit that we hope people will find useful. There are a huge range of good examples, little dappled rays of a zero carbon future here in the present that we can begin to sort of link up and become commonplace. I mean, the Green Valleys Hydro are pioneering what they're calling a virtual private wire network, where they're looking at the key big grid connection where the voltage is dropped and looking at everything within that so that you can begin to exchange energy within that at a good price, so that the community hydro can sell at 10p a unit to the people around it instead of them buying at 15p a unit from the grid. They're getting a better price, the people around them are getting a better price, and then they're just buying and selling from the grid at the point of access. Those sorts of projects that allow the co-benefits, the economic benefits, the social benefits of renewables to be shared more locally are very powerful. I would say it's worth also remembering the Centre for Alternative Technology is a good resource that people can draw upon. We run Zero Carbon Britain courses twice a year. We've got a sort of experimental laboratory around us that's been pioneering new ways of doing things for 43 years now. So we have universities that come and do modules with us in land use, in building design, in energy, and we're just a resource that's there to be helpful.